So about 2 months ago was, I think it's safe to say, the worst day of my entire life. I got in a horrible car crash. I was hospitalized for like 3 days, and I've been just healing for a while. Hence this, I don't know if you can notice like the scarring around my eye and stuff like that. I don't think I want to show pictures and stuff because it's pretty graphic. But yeah, we're healing. Still not the best, but you know, we're getting better. But right before the car crash, I made a 6 TV stand. So that's what this video is going to be about. My original TV stand, it was a fine TV stand. It was like just this random weird little table thing that I found in a dumpster one day. I've had it for a couple years now, and it's just it never really looked right to me. I don't like seeing the wires underneath it. There's no real like storage or anything without it just looking messy. So I was like, you know what? I want a fun little project. Let's make a TV stand. I can make a TV stand. So I started with like drawing like a rough concept idea. I genuinely don't know where my mics are, so sorry for poor audio. And also my iPad's dead, so I have to do this while it's charging. I am just going to draw up some quick and dirty plans so I can get a rough idea of measurements and how this thing's gonna end up looking. Thinking length will be about 5 feet. I think width will be about 16.5 inches. Height, I'm thinking about 2 feet. The reason I'm doing 16.5 is because the boards that I have are 5.5 inches, and I think I'm going to be doing 3 of them side by side, so altogether that is 16.5 inches wide. So the top will be about 5 feet. Might play with that later, but we'll see. Here will be 2 feet. I think I'm going to keep it real simple. I'm going to have support in the middle, and then shelf. I'm going to leave a little bit of space down here at the bottom. Here in the corners, I'm probably going to have little things holding the shelves. Say this is the inside in here. I'm going to have those wood go across like that, and then bolt those in so I can put the shelves in, and then also to hold these 3 boards together. Yeah, sure, that makes sense to me. I am losing daylight, so let's get started. Sorry, I'm trying to get up to speed on the like order of events of stuff because I filmed this so long ago. I honestly kind of forget. So I found some free wood, free to me at least, in an undisclosed location that I'm not going to reveal. It was by a dumpster. We're just going to leave it at that. So there were big pieces of wood. My dad also had a pallet that he was about to get rid of, so I was like, that's perfect. Give me that pallet, daddy. Ew. So I pretty much made this with free wood. What's better than free wood? Am I right, ladies? Ew. So I started by measuring out all the measurements that I mentioned previously in the previous clip that I don't remember because I filmed this months ago. And I was cutting it with my hacksaw, or that's a jigsaw, not a hacksaw, you idiot. So I cut them with my jigsaw and then just cut all the pieces to the lengths that I needed. This was some more free wood that I think I had this laying around from a different project that I did. So these pieces are going to be the kind of like joining pieces. So all 3 of the boards will be joined together by these pieces, and then they'll also be used for like what the shelves are going to be resting on. So before I screwed everything together, I sanded them smooth and made sure that they were real nice, because, you know, this was old, nasty wood that's been sitting outside and stuff. So I sanded it all smooth and made it really nice. Luckily there was no rot or anything that made the wood unusable or weak or anything. It was just a little dirty, needs some loving, needs some cleaning up. Which honestly, don't we all? Am I right, fellas? All right. For the two side parts, there was 3 of those like joining pieces. I'm not using like proper carpenter terminology or anything here, but for the 2 side parts, there was 3 of the joining pieces. One of the joining pieces was flush with the 3 pieces of wood at the very top. You'll see why later. The very bottom one, or like the third one, I put, I think, like 2 inches from the bottom of the boards. That's because I wanted a little bit of space between the bottom of the TV stand and the floor. The second one in the middle, I measured how wide I wanted the shelves to be and put it there. I was playing around with different ideas for what to do for the feet. I found these ones that were just little plastic pieces that you like hammered in as if they were nails. So this is just me doing a test of if I like how they look and anything. I end up using them later because they were, you know, they're not the best, but they're fine. The next day I measured out how long I wanted the TV stand to be, cut 3 more pieces of wood to the length that I wanted. Now this was a surprisingly annoying part of the build, was to apart the freaking pallets, man. I thought it'd be a lot easier, but these pallets were like heavy duty, man. Honestly, I just went at them with my hammer and tried to tear them apart without breaking too much of the wood. So I broke off one of the boards from one of the pallets, cleaned it up nice. I cut it to a length that I needed, and that's because that was what I was going to use to join the 3 top boards for the top of the TV stand. I wanted to use that piece from like the pallet because I wanted it to just be thinner and not be too noticeable. And then I go to screw all the pieces together. I didn't want to screw from the top of the TV stand as much as possible because I didn't want to have to cover everything up. So I was screwing those pieces to where that would be facing down when I put the top of the TV stand on. But then I ran into a problem where my screws were just slightly too long, and so they were sticking out the top. I didn't have other screws, and I really didn't want to go buy new screws for this. So I tried cutting it with my Dremel tool, but the screws that I was using was like construction screws, so they were really strong. So just cutting them with my Dremel tool was just not cutting it. I went through like 2 whole metal grinder wheels just to do 2 screws. So I was like, that's just not gonna be very efficient. So what I ended up doing was I had drywall screws. So these screws are too long. As you can see, they're sticking out. So I have these. They're just drywall interior screws. Not the most ideal, but they'll do the trick. So what I'm gonna do, it's not poking through. You can't really tell, but it's not poking through the other side if I don't sink it in all the way. And there's gonna be a couple instances where they do stick out a smidge. There is the smallest bit poking out on a couple of these, just the tiniest little bit. So with those tiny little bits, and then later on I'll get some wood filler and fill in these holes. As you can tell, this board is slightly too long, so I'm just gonna cut that little bit off. So you're gonna see me having this lid under where I'm cutting a lot of stuff. That's because I wanted to start collecting the sawdust, because I was going to use the sawdust as a wood filler later. Dude, my legs are so sore from squatting the past couple days. Okay, so I have the 3 legs done. The top is all done as well. So now we just need to work on the shelves. And for the shelves, we're going to be using this pallet. So we got to tear this pallet apart.
Like I said, I didn't realize that I got like military grade pallets for this. It was so hard to break these things apart. What I ended up doing was cutting along the sides because I only needed like a certain length. So I ended up cutting along the sides and then just prying it off from the middle part. So I had a good amount of boards, but they were ugly. They were horrible. So I spent a lot of time hammering out the nails and getting all the nails out. When you're using reclaimed wood like this, I'm going to say reclaimed so it sounds fancy. When you're using reclaimed wood like this from pallets and they're dirty and they're nasty and they're splintery, you know, it takes a long time to make them look nice. So you can either go and buy this wood and not have to do as much work, or you can do it for free like I'm doing it and have to do a lot more work.
Perfect. That's looking good. I mean, it's all seems measured out very well. It's coming together. Back to sanding, because I still need to sand all of these boards. Yeah.
So yes, I was very excited to cut and sand more wood. I'm glad I did the smart thing and cut everything to the length that I needed and then sanded it, because I did one board where I sanded the whole board and then I cut the length that I needed, and then I realized I didn't need to sand the whole thing. So I'm glad I realized that early on. Also, God bless whoever invented the like orbital sander. If I had to do this like by hand with like sandpaper, I wouldn't have done it. Yeah, it's just a lot of sanding, cutting, making it all look pretty.
So I brought it inside. Daisy's doing an inspection right now. So I brought it inside because it's a little uneven on the legs. It's a little wobbly. And I think that's because I kind of drilled it together out there on like an uneven surface. So I brought it in here to put the shelves on and to do the final like put together, just to make sure everything's nice and even and stable.
So with everything like officially put together, I thought it looked very nice. There's still a lot more work to be done. And then the corners, I kind of wanted them to be pretty rounded.
So this whole front side, I rounded off. And these front corners, I rounded off real nice. And these corners rounded off real nice. So now I'm going to take some wood glue and some of that sawdust that I collected earlier and mix it together, kind of make a wood filler. And fill in, I think these cracks right here, I'm going to fill in. And then I'm going to fill in all these holes and cracks, and I'm going to cover all these screws. Just make it look a little bit more cohesive and not like, you know, cobbled together. Even though it is cobbled together.
So with that homemade like DIY wood filler, it was a lot more solid than I thought it would be. Like it was a lot more of a pain to sand, but I had to take a break between letting it dry and then sanding it because apparently Noah's flood was happening.
So I did a test sand on this side to see how the homemade wood filler would look. It's not the most desirable look, but so like this is what it looks like before, and this is what it looks like after. Whatever. I'm tired of this project at this point, and I think it being covered with stain will help fix it a little bit. This was supposed to be like a 2-day project.
Like I said, sanding the DIY wood filler, it took a while, and I went through a lot of sanding discs for it.
So it's all sanded, you know, not the prettiest stuff you've ever seen, but hey, I'm not, what's his name? Make It With Miles? I'm not Make It With Miles, dude. You want to see like pretty professional kind of level stuff? Go watch his channel. We're winging it here. Something I do like, that I made sure to really round off these corners, because I think it looks nice. So now, stain. We're gonna go for a dark walnut. And I got stain and polyurethane, one step, because I want to get this done with as fast as humanly possible.
So the stain that I used was pretty weird because it was a stain and like poly mix. When I applied it, it looked like paint. Like it looked like I was painting it. And so I was nervous because I just thought it would look like I painted the wood. But it ended up working fine. I just applied it like normal stain. You know, you paint it on, you wipe some of the excess off. And then it ended up looking fine. And it did save time to where I didn't have to do the stain coat and then the poly coat and everything.
For real, if I don't get it done today, I'm gonna throw it in the dumpster and cry for the rest of my life. So we do still have the issue of the wobble. And I think it's because the top of the top here, oh, this is like one of those drum things. I think that the top here, it wasn't straight. Like I think the top was a little bit warped. So when I screwed the legs on, then the legs are uneven. You can see it just kind of has a bit of a wobble. There you go. Cool. That works for me. Now let's finish the staining. This stain smells like chocolate, by the way. Just thought y'all should know. Makes you think, man. Makes you think.
My back and my legs hurt so much during this project because I was just kind of bending over and squatting over the entire time. What the heck was that? There was a caterpillar. Look at him go. Oh my god, do you guys see that caterpillar? That's so funny. I didn't even know he was there. Eventually, I finished the horrible task of staining everything. Then it was time to replace the current TV stand. So after about a week of making it, then after about 2 months of being able to edit the video for it, I think this is the longest gap I've had between like filming and making the thing and actually releasing the video. So without further ado, I'm very happy to show you the finished product. I am very happy with how this turned out. It feels great, it feels smooth. I love having all the storage. Here's where I keep like the controllers for my Switch and everything. Here's where I'm going to keep all my Switch games when I get more physical copies of Switch games. Here's the Wi-Fi router. I don't know what I'm going to put down here yet. Here's like a Harry Potter shelf that I have. Here's where I'm going to be putting all my physical copies of movies. These pop tabs are for a secret little project that I'm planning and concocting and working on that I think you'll be seeing at some point in the future. And then yeah, I just have a switch, various little decor, little plants and stuff, and the TV. So y'all, I honestly, you know, I the rustic uniqueness that it has. I think I much prefer having this than having some like mass-produced thing, because it's mine and I spent time working on it, and I'm happy with it. I'm proud of it. It's one of those things where you look at it and you're like, you know, I made that, you know, and it makes you feel good. So there you have it. That's how I built my TV stand for kind of for free. I think I only bought some screws, the feet for it, and the stain. I don't remember the total cost, but the wood I got for free, so I think that's technically for free. That's how I said myself, 150 bucks. I think that's about all I got. Feels good to make a video again. I'm doing all right. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure you like the video. If you like me, make sure you subscribe. I think that's all I got for you, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of